Hi everybody, this is Coach Brian with Cause Events and welcome to Coach's Corner. Today we're here on our third episode of the exercise series where we're looking again at runners. I'm here with Claudia Rojas Herrera, and she is a physical therapist. She's one of the best I know, and she's going to give us a little bit of direction, a little more understanding about what we're doing and how we're doing it and what we're going to try to prevent, because we want you to have a long running career.
So in the previous episodes, we talked about risk factors for running. The first one was structural changes, that there's nothing we can do but compensate for them. The other one was functional movements, right? How to squat, lunge properly, which is going to translate in better running and less injuries. And today we're going to talk about mobility. There's two aspects of mobility. One comes from your joints and one comes from your muscles, right? I know everybody likes to stretch, but as we age, our joints get stiffer, as you know. And especially if you had injuries, there's something we call post-traumatic arthritis or capsulitis, which means that the capsule of the surrounding of your joints get thicker, swollen and thicker as we age, right?
Yeah.
So again, let's say you have more shoulder stiffness whenever you had an injury, and of course you're going to have bilateral stiffness as you age, right?
Yep.
So if we want to keep training and running at a good level, how are we going to try to maintain maybe not the same mobility that you have when you're 20, but decent symmetric mobility both sides so you don't get injuries, right? So first, for active mobility, something that a good clinician or PT would do is check for your, we call it first ray, or your big toe. As you can tell, because we run too many miles, right, with a forefoot with good form, hopefully you already fixed that, heel strike. But if your forefoot puts a lot of pressure, then you're going to feel as you age that you have some stiffness, cracking, or pain. As you can tell, because we run too many miles, right, with a forefoot with good form, hopefully you already fixed that, heel strike. But if your forefoot puts a lot of pressure, then you're going to feel as you age that you have some stiffness, cracking, or pain in this part of your big toe. Or the opposite, right? If you have more mobility, there's exercise you can do for it. So if it's very stiff, you can do traction, right, which is hold your metatarsal heads, or this cushioning part, and then you're going to do a little bit traction of your big toe, and then try to stretch it into extension. First, do traction and stretch. That feels really, really good. And you can also, do this like a minute or so, but then keep the movement with some similar exercises, right, like lunging, or you can do it against a sidewalk or a wall, right, and hold a good stretch there. That's if you don't have too much mobility. But if the opposite is true, remember we talked in the first episode about strengthening your arch. So you can grab one of those toe spacers, and especially when you come from days of too much standing or running, too many miles, you're just going to put this and stretch your muscles first, but then you're going to try to squeeze this and relax. Squeeze and relax. You can do this like a minute or so, while you're watching your favorite program. Compare always to the other side to see if you have the same endurance. And otherwise, you can grab a towel and, just crumple it, or pick up objects like crayons, marbles, things like that, all right? So if you want to develop your arch, release some pressure from the metatarsal heads, or, this cushy part, and unload that joint. So that's one of the factors that we see in running injuries, people with stiffness or hypermobility of the big toe. Now we're going to talk about passive range of motion, right? So, this is for cycling. So a lot of people, runners have, tightness. So now we're going to talk about muscles, right? From your hip flexors, or your quadriceps, or your hamstrings, or your calf, or your ITB band. So, again, a good clinician should be able to assess it. And we're going to start with your hip flexors. This is called the Thomas test. but you want to be like in a bench or in a bed. Take your opposite leg. Try to keep your knee aligned, right? So you don't want it to be open, because that tells me you have some ITV tightness as well. And this is a wonderful stretch, oh, that was my tip, for your hip flexors, something, all the stretches try to hold 30 seconds or long. And you might feel like there's always a side that needs to be longer there, right? Now for your quadriceps, you can always check, typical exercises for, maybe we can have a strap. Again, if you had some injury in your knee, just go easy on that. It's always better to not put pressure on your knee by putting weight on it, but you can do your stretches. Again, always compare one side to the other side. Be sure that you're not compensating with a contractor hip flexor, right? Just take it back. Hamstring, I'm sure all of you guys have different ideas for mobility. Again, compare right to left, or do more dynamic exercises, right? Some other functional exercises that I love are your single deadlifts. Those are some of my favorites. So let's see, we're gonna grab these. And you can grab a kettlebell or whatever you want. Actually, let me take the other shoes even. I don't cause another injury. So deadlifts, similar. You want to be on one leg and try to go down easy and get up. So I love this exercise because you're working stability of one leg, in this case the right one, and then also flexibility. You can feel the hamstring here working. I always recommend start 15 on each side, and let's see if you have the same, mobility and flexibility on the opposite side, right? So that's for the hamstring. The other muscles that are usually tight are your gastroc or your calf muscles. You can do anything from like wall pushes, right? Either with your knee straight or your knee bent. So you can grab all the different body parts of your calf. The other one that I like is also just the wall stretch. Previously I just showed you with a big toe, right? But you can incorporate a little bit more, so you can grab all the calf muscles there, right? Iliotibial band, you can also do your stretches here, right? Against no wall or against a wall. Same thing, compare right to left. And again, if you have some leg discrepancy, you might feel like you need one side to work more than the other one. So we have hip flexors, quadriceps, hamstrings, ITV, and calves. So those are ideas to get more mobility from your muscles, from your joints. Oh, and now we're going to talk about passive stiffness, right? In the ankle, a lot of runners, especially after injuries or as we age, we have less dorsiflexion, which means that we talked previously about squats, right, or lunges. If we don't have at least 20 to 30 degrees here, right, then we're going to end up having more tendinous injuries, ankle sprains and so on, right? So there's a little trick that you can do. This is more for your joint, it's not for your muscles. So you can grab like a strap, like a yoga strap. I'm going to do it like a loop. So let's say that I assessed previously from measurements and from a functional point of view with a squat or a lunge that I don't have enough dorsiflexion here, right? So I'm going to try to glide that, it's called the tibia, that bone posteriorly, like it should be doing it. So when I'm running, it's not just my muscles here that need to be stretched, but I want this joint to be mobile enough, right? So I have no trouble or injuries. So you can do the same thing. My goal is to keep my heel down, trunk straight, and this strap is gliding properly my bones so I can do more dorsiflexion, all right? Again, you're gonna compare. I would do maybe like a minute or so. And so those were my ideas for avoiding running injuries. Keep good mobility from the big toe, the ankle, or your leg muscles. So it's joints and muscles. When I finish running, do you have any favorite exercise you do when you run?
You mean stretching?
Yeah, stretching, just stretching.
Well, I like to bend over because I always have issues with my back, and I will bend over and I'll walk to one side and I'll walk to the other side, similar to what we did when we did child's pose in an earlier video.
Good.
Because I stiffen up so much when I run.
I know, and I agree because some of us, our athletes, are very aware with their body, right? So your body's telling you after you were putting a lot of body weight in the spine, please stretch me and unload me, and your body instantly tells you what to do, right? So I'm gonna show you some of my favorite exercises after I run. Before I run, there's a lot of research saying that it's good to do some dynamic stretches, right? Meaning like some marches, warming up, stuff like that, right? But my favorite part after any run is when my ligaments, my collagen, my muscles are finally, relaxed. Then I'll show you my quick big ones, all right? So I just finish a run, and when I lower my heart rate and my breathing, I do the lunge, I stretch up, and I work not only on breathing to stabilize that, but balance for my core. I do then the one for your piriformis, your rotator here, right? And I hold it there a few breaths as well. You can put your hands like these, right? And then I do the other side. I do also, the quadricep stretch that we talk about, but I combine with some yoga, breathing, grabbing your core, and then you want to go into either tree pose or whatever, but try to work on balance and flexibility, and even your calf muscles, right? So you can grab from any surface and work your calf, your core. Get ready for the day as you lower again heart rate, breathing, and compare the other side. And which other one I like? Oh, and my favorite is the star pose. I usually grab from a bench or something. You can get help from a wall. Ideally, it's nothing. But I like it because it works in every single plane, right? And see here. Your inner thigh muscles, your trunk rotators, all the muscles that you work a little bit but not enough, and you're stretching everything. So again, you breathe in, you breathe out, and you compare. Remember, the key is to work little by little with breathing into keeping symmetry, right, of mobility and strength, so you can have a long career of running. So I hope these ideas to improve your mobility in your joints and your muscles help you to avoid running injuries.
It'll be edited out.
Watch out.
Okay. Let's see.
Number 20? Oh, it's 30.
Okay, okay, so those are things that's going to help us prevent running injuries and help us have that longer running career. So I'm really excited. I'm excited about this series that we're doing, and I hope you guys like it too. So if you have any thoughts, comments, questions, concerns, please leave them in the comments. I look forward. I read every comment. They come through to me in an email. You can also get a hold of me at CoachBriansCorner@gmail.com. My contact information will be at the end of the video, so you will have it there as well. So you don't have to write it down suddenly or try to remember it. So Claudia, thank you very much for helping me, and we're going to be looking forward to doing some more of these. So I hope that you guys can enjoy this series. We have a lot of fun doing it. And we'll be joining you again soon. All right? Well, with that, good night.
Thank you so much. I forgot to mention, we talk about a lot of, exercise for mobility, strength, and so on. I did never mention core stability. But if you're good doing planks, side planks, and incorporate that for a good running life, that's, one of the other core factors besides all the exercise we talk about.
Oh, yeah, I like core stability. All right, well, we'll see you in the next episode.
Thank you.